I've never had sexual contact with a man. I'm a heterosexual man that has never had sexual contact with a man. However, when I was 4 and 5 and 6, when I was 14 and 15, there were adult men that put me in very inappropriate situations that did not involve sexual contact. And the sad about this whole thing, the sad thing about this whole thing is that my childhood trauma is now being weaponized on the internet and perverted on the internet in such a nasty, vicious way. We always talk about like, I ain't gonna go too deep in that, but I ain't never, ever in my life had any sexual contact with a man. But the fact that me as a 36-year-old man have to explain that to the internet, explain it to the internet from things that took place when I was a minor, unable to defend myself, unable to give consent to anything, is troubling. And it takes a twisted thinking person to think that that was a story to tell and pervert to further any cause of whatever the fuck that person is trying to do. So, but I mean, listen, let me say this to you. I really don't give a fuck what people think though. Like I really don't, man. But yo, bro, like I had to call, like I had to talk to my mama about this shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't never even talked to my mama about some of this shit. Like this internet shit is weird. Some weird fucking shit, bro. Like, be honest with you. Like, I look, I'm not one of those niggas that care whether you think I'm straight, bi, what I'm not fucking you. So it don't make me no difference whether you think I'm bi, whether you think I'm straight, whether you think I'm gay. I'm not fucking you. Like it don't make me no difference. I've never been one of those people that's like, oh my God, people think I'm gay, people think I'm bi. Man, I don't care what you think, man. And honestly, like a lot of this world, bro, we have such strong feelings about homosexuality, such a fear of it that a lot of men get upset and in arms about people, you know, missexualizing them. Like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. But I don't also want to be a man on the internet to have to explain to you that I'm a straight man. Like believe what you want to believe. The part that was disturbing to me is not, somebody trying to tell the internet that I'm bisexual or on the down low. That's absolutely false. But I don't care if you believe it. The thing that was troubling to me was a person perverting my childhood trauma from when I was a minor, a young minor. And it's like, I don't know what type of person does that. I don't know what type of person does that. You know why I've never really told people about my childhood trauma? It's not that I'm ashamed of it, because I'm not ashamed. But as you grow into a man, especially if you were a boy, when maybe, let's say, grooming took place, you were a boy. You were unable to give consent. Your brain isn't developed. You are trusting the adults around you. But as you grow, right? As you grow into an adult male, it becomes less and less important for you to say anything about it because you realize what society, like the society we live in, like you realize how unsafe it is for people of color, especially men, when it comes to homosexuality and bisexuality. As a straight man, I see what some of my brothers have to deal with who are not in this conventional sexuality spectrum. Like I'm a straight man, but I see what homosexual men go through, bisexual men go through. I see the stigma. Matter of fact, I was introduced to the stigma as a child. I see the bullying they go through. I see it. And you develop this fear as a straight man of being labeled that. And so like that is where you get this sort of toxic response, right? And I've worked so hard in my life to deconstruct that, right? I don't give a fuck if you call me gay. I don't give a fuck if a person think I'm bi. But it's mainly because I've deconstructed that fear of homosexuality. I've deconstructed that fear of bisexuality. Like I've deconstructed that fear of being mislabeled that because I know my identity. I know I'm straight. But I think a lot of black boys who have been, whether it's molested, whether it's groomed, whether it's more serious in nature, a lot of black boys grow into black men that never say anything about it because the last thing they want somebody questioning is their sexuality based off of something they couldn't control when they were a minor. And it may not be that person is homophobic in nature, but they see how unsafe it is for brown people who don't fit inside the conventional sexuality box. I had said like I wasn't gonna address that shit like that for real. And it was mostly because I think the hardest part about that narrative was you're not trying to beat up on a 36-year-old version of myself. You're trying to beat up on a 13-year-old, 14-year old version of myself. You know what I mean? And that's the toughest part because like why we even talking about that? Like what the fuck, bro? Like I was genuinely confused. Why the fuck we even talking about that? The fuck that got to do with whatever the fuck you said the disagreement was? What the fuck does that got to do with anything? But I sit here and I tell y'all, man, I ain't ashamed to sit up here and tell y'all, what the fuck I've ever been through. Nigga like me that made plenty of mistakes. That wasn't one of them. That wasn't a mistake I made. Um, so to reiterate for people that are confused about it, I don't know if y'all screen recording or not. It is what it is. For people that are confused about it, I've never had sexual contact with a man ever. I've never been penetrated. I've never penetrated anyone. I've never touched somebody, organ, and no one has, fondled mine in that sense. You know, you know, let's just say from the age 10 on, as far as like, you know, you know, all that different shit. When I was younger, I ain't gonna lie, like it is something that is more common than we think. And yes, when I was 4 or 5, I was touched by a family member. But these are things that I have never really told anybody. But when I was 13, 14, I was not touched by anybody. This whole mentor story, I was not touched by a mentor. I did not have sexual contact with a mentor. And I don't have a problem, now because it's out there talking about this stuff. But I just wish it was on my timeline whenever I was ready to talk about my childhood trauma from when I was a child. And I hope y'all can understand that. Like, I don't want to be in front of you guys right now talking about this shit, but it's here. We here now, nigga. Nigga, we here. Everything else, the other personal stuff is like y'all can believe what y'all want to believe. I've already said certain things are just grossly embellished. A lot of the things are flat out lies. There's probably kernels of truth in some of the places, but in my, that's some personal shit. That's my story to tell whenever I'm ready to tell it. And I hope you guys understand that part, right? We good on that. Um, and the only thing I can do at this point is just move forward and live in my transparency and my truth. Cool. All right.